Hey everyone. So in this video, I want to do a update to talk about, just game development stuff, things like Helios, and just give my thoughts in general on the state of virtual reality. Basically, I just want to vlog at the moment, just to kind of go over like new things that I'm going to be doing, working on, and things of that nature. And right now, what you're looking at is the Zombie Dell Lounge in Helios. Um, my plans for Helios are going to well, actually, I have a lot of plans. I have a lot of hopes for Helios. I'm very positive on the prospects of the Helios project. Basically, Helios is a VR chat style game on the Unreal 4 engine with modability and everything like that, the scripting, the blueprint scripting, and everything like that. I expect to start seeing. I'm gonna try and get some tutorials together soon where I'm gonna go over how to do the blueprints. I'm gonna I'm gonna be creating example blueprints. I'll even release my mirrors and make example levels so that we can have like cool little like easy ways to set up these mirrors, and I can actually even make videos showing how I did it and everything like that. This does not mean that I won't be updating and still continuing to work on the Zombie Dell Lounge on the Unity engine. This is the VR chat version of the world. For example, this right here will become a swimming pool as well, kind of like the one we were just looking at in Helios. I'll probably actually bring a lot of the same changes over that I've done, uh, from before in Helios, and bring them to the VR chat version of the world as well. It's it's a much this world has gotten quite a bit of attention and has appeared in quite a few places, and I'm really glad that people are enjoying it, and I have no plans to discontinue working on it anytime soon. I really think that it's I just words can't describe just how positive and how much I have uh, social virtual reality has been. It has been very much a life-changing thing. I've talked about it in the past, and I see big things in the future of virtual reality, very big things in the future, but we're still at the very beginning before it gets sort of normalized, which is actually even cooler because now we kind of have the beginnings of something that's we're getting to step foot on this new territory. And I know that's not super new, but it's new enough. Most people are not going to have virtual reality headsets and everything like that. Not yet, not yet. And a lot of people won't know the culture, the kind of things that go on in a virtual reality environment when you're in a social media, virtual reality kind of thing with full body and haptics. Good God. So what we have right now is a the very beginnings ever since now specifically before I say what I'm about to say, specifically once VR chat got its Udon update, which allows for a visual scripting language, which also just means a better scripting language in general, right? Because like if they had just gave us a C sharp or something like that, that would have been fine. Actually, I would have taken C sharp probably. I would actually prefer C sharp over Udon, honestly. But with that said, at least when it comes to a visual scripting language, it's easier for the devs to make it more of a sandbox rather than allow people to just do whatever they want and cause all kinds of harm. Um, C sharp can probably be pretty brutal if you put it in the hands of somebody malicious. With that said, though, blueprint scripting and stuff like that is you're not exactly getting away from that either. I imagine that there's going to be a lot of those kinds of problems in Helios as well, but and VR chat. But so to get back to my original point, what I was about to get onto is that right now we just crested on proper scripting languages and proper ability to build games inside of these virtual reality social media platforms. So what we know that we have in a virtual reality social media or social media in general is a lot of people. How do you capitalize on having a lot of people in that kind of a setting? Well, people are going to want in, they're going to want to sit in hot tubs and chill and stare at mirrors. But that's not all they want to do. You know what I mean? I think that I think it's been said before that one of the reasons why it gets, VR ends up being so sexualized all the time is because it's really not that much else to do in VR chat other than stare at a mirror and socialize in hot anime cat girl avatars. There's actually a lot more to it than that. That's a generalization that I don't think should be really stressed too much, even though it may be considered partially true, at least. Let's be honest. Let's just say though that once these kinds of games reach a point where we can build games inside of these games, that's when the shit is going to get real. And it's already kind of at that point right now. Okay? So, these kinds of environments allow us to have, characters with guns, characters with movement abilities, characters with actions and special inventories, and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? There were a lot of things that Ready Player One got right when it was talking when in the movie. I hear that the books are a lot better. I might actually take up advice that was given to me recently to actually grab an audiobook and just listen to it while I'm working on stuff. Ready Player One audiobook would probably be a really good idea for me to do for just searching for further inspiration. I'm very passionate about this. One of the reasons why I'm so excited about Helios and stuff like that. Once you can begin building the gameplay, think about what comes next. Okay? Alright, so let's just take a regular example and fly around in the VR chat world. Like, okay, so I'm in Unity and somebody can pull out a Halo Spartan, right? And somebody else can be the Doom guy. Somebody else can be Chun-Li from Street Fighter, right? Up until now, all those avatars were just visual things, right? What happens the moment you take things to one additional step? And the Halo guy now has all of his Halo weapons. The Doom guy now has all of his Doom weapons. Chun-Li can now kick your ass in VR, all right? So she can, she's got her, her lightning kicks and all that shit, right? What happens to these kinds of platforms when the games can actually have true logic and scripting built into them? Well, for one, you have to keep in mind something here. It's an open mod community environment as well. Mod communities are the most powerful force in the game industry, hands down. Nothing can compete with the brute force of a mass prototyping paradigm like a mod community can. All right, and that brute force of a mass prototyping paradigm, combined with the ability to actually do true gameplay and diverse gameplay, where just about anyone can just jump in and continually add to this pie, this another piece to the pie or another piece to the puzzle, where new assault rifles, new magic spells, new. Start to think about it. Start to really get your mind thinking about what happens when that becomes the norm. Now, Udon coming out is something that's very positive in terms of VR chat, right? But let's take a moment and think about Unreal as well. Unreal is literally one of the top game engines. I personally think that the Unreal Engine is the best 3D engine on the market, right? The best open-ended, 3D engine available, period. It just is. What happens when we can actually start making gameplay on these things? All right? What happens when that extra step is taken think of the multiplicative results, the end results of that level of ability can provide. Now all of a sudden we're playing worlds that are essentially like you go to one world and it's like an open world survival zombie game, right? And we're all like, in our cat girl outfits with our fucking machine guns and getting like trying to collect pork chops by punching pigs to death, and you know what I mean, like all of a sudden we're doing all this random shit in this one world, and then we go to another world, and this world is just like a hangout drinking world house where there's a bunch of like pong and like board games and shit and everything like that, and it actually keeps score of everything that you're doing, and then you jump to another one, and like it's just a deathmatch level from already existing game, like a popular deathmatch mode, CS:GO or something like that. Now we're playing CS:GO as cat girls. We're playing CS:GO as cat girls. But we're not just using the weapons in CS:GO. We actually have weapons in our inventory, like Ready Player One, where you have a bunch of different weapons, and you could just pull them out. That I got an assault rifle that doesn't even exist in CS:GO because I got it from playing the zombie game and it stayed in my inventory, or something like that, right? Then once we start getting into that territory, the shit hits the fan really fast because the potential of being able to be Tracer from Overwatch, PvPing a mage from World of Warcraft. I brought up a lot of these kinds of examples. It becomes a complete and utter, like, ridiculous amount of stuff that could potentially happen that can never happen in any other place. Not like this, right? Not with this level of fidelity, not with this level of of immersion that you get from virtual reality. Now I understand that a lot of big devs, they're trying to push like something like Alex or something like that, right? Well, I'll tell you right now, Alex and those gloves that Alex has and the abilities and the weapons that Alex has from Half-Life, you know, from that VR game can easily be ported over into one of these, either VR Chat or Helios, right? By random people. And then that character can actually be played. You can actually play as that character and even see yourself in a mirror as Alex, and get a feel for being able to see like how you fare up against the fucking Halo Spartan. You know what I mean? You could be Mario and driving uh one of the tanks in Halo. you know you It just becomes a complete and utter mismatch mix mash not mismatch. It's just a mashing together of every possible thing at the same time. Think about that. Now, with that said, I want to like I mean I fully have all the plans in the world to continue just like developing on this and everything like that. I have a lot of things to say, I mean, that are just totally positive about projects in general along these lines, but I think this shit is a little under the radar at the moment, and I don't think that a lot of people are quite mentally ready for something that's kind of already been in front of our faces for a while now. Like, people play as avatars from anime, characters from video games. Like, it's already there. We've seen it. People rip things from, all kinds of places, and then they just bring it in as an avatar from all anywhere, right? Like you can play Dante, from Devil May Cry, or fucking uh, Simon Belmont. Like somebody can make a fucking cool ass like Simon Belmont. It's exactly in the same vein as Ready Player One in that respect. Characters that aren't even technically from video games can now just be you can be that character, but now you can also have those powers and you can actually utilize them in weird ways that were never really possible before. And we can have places. I brought this up when I was playing the Doom character, like I was playing in VR chat in Doom. So there's a shareware episode of Doom on VR chat, right? But one of the things that they didn't, they explained is that you can bring in avatars with your own weapons, right? That's kind of like a low key version of what I'm trying to get at. And one of the reasons why this sort of thing needs to be on people's radars. You have to be thinking about this because it's a really big deal, and it's gonna it's gonna cause waves in ways that I don't think a lot of people were ready for. Now, I mean, I honestly I wonder if it can stay under the radar long enough that it becomes, you know, such a such a such a popular thing that there's really no way to stomp it out. But basically, one of the things that was pushed in Ready Player One was that Ready Player One was just a mismatch, of everything at once. That was an absolute truth. But really think about how interesting that can be, especially from like a PvP perspective, where you can switch to Goku and like throw a Kamehameha at M Bison from Street Fighter. Like literally anything can happen when the gameplay begins getting put together, right? And all and as a developer, the only thing that the developer has to do is provide the base platform and say, well, I'm not gonna, you can do whatever you want with it. It's just open. People can just build stuff and have fun with it. You know what I mean? So you don't necessarily have to build something from another game. People can make up new things. They can make up new things. It's exactly the same thing that we're already thinking about. We should be thinking about what happens next, and this is exactly one of those things that can happen next. So on that note, I'm gonna start getting some tutorials for Helios to explain the steps that are needed in order for you to be able to get an avatar working in it. Generally speaking, the world creation is already probably top notch. So let me explain this a little bit better. Um, in terms of like all of the competitors in the VR scene at the moment, Helios right now has the best world creation, I think, period. Because it's the Unreal 4 engine. You're just building stuff in the Unreal 4 engine. I mean, you got full access to blueprints. You can script all this stuff. I made these like mirror buttons, and the mirror buttons like actually like can be pointed towards this, and you can put particles in. You can put any kind of gameplay. You can have moving platforms. You can do literally anything. You can make these video screens stream from YouTube exactly like the Zombie Dell Lounge in VR chat, and you know what I mean. Like I'm gonna have more than just beer pong tables. I might actually even allow different types of games, and maybe you can just switch between them, like what kind of game you can play. And then you can periodically you'll be able to see like if you want to take a look at who has the highest score, and I might hide like items in the world where if you pick them up you get coins or something like that, and you know what I mean. And then it's sort of like a gambling game where you're betting coins against other people when you play beer pong against them or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is already pretty much top notch. You can't get better than Unreal 4 development as far as world creation. What's lagging right now, and I plan to make a tutorial for this, is getting characters in. Is a bit shaky. I'm not super happy at the moment, but I kind of want to get third party. I want to get other people's opinions on like what the pipeline is like once I actually develop like some tutorial stuff and kind of go over things. Um, but so yeah, I probably should have said the thing about the cool gameplay last and not have left on this note. But yeah, I'm definitely planning on making more content for this, and I definitely want to continue making more videos. And I'm probably not going to make videos just about coronavirus. Trust me, I'm just going to let that one go for a couple of months, and I'll come back to that some other time. I'm going to be trying to just focus mostly on having fun with virtual reality and seeing what comes next. And I also have other projects as well that I can make videos about. So I hope you guys enjoy, and stay tuned for more.